So in this segment, we're going to be talking about the coup, the military coup in Myanmar. Yeah, let's just talk about this one. Myanmar's military has seized power after detaining Aung San Suu Kyi and other democratically elected leaders. Troops are patrolling streets in major cities and communications are limited. The top army commander is now in charge, and a 1 year state of emergency has been declared. The army TV has announced. So this is essentially a military coup. This is the military overthrowing a government. The move follows a landslide win by Miss Suki's party in an election which the army claim was marred by fraud. She urged her supporters to not accept this and protest against this coup. So we'll talk about why I have obviously I have a lot of issues with Aung San Suu Kyi. A military coup is not the way to deal with a leader who's not very good and has overseen a genocide within their country. But we'll talk about that in towards the end of the article. So, in a letter written in preparation for her impending detention, she said military actions put the country back under dictatorship. So, Myanmar, also known as Burma, was ruled by army forces until 2011, when democratic reforms spearheaded by Aung San Suu Kyi ended military rule. She spent nearly 15 years in detention between 1989 and 2010. She was internationally hailed as a beacon of democracy and received the Nobel Prize in 1991, a prize which should be revoked. Should have been revoked by now, to be honest. In the early hours of Monday, so I was reading about this last night. I was like, wow. You can see here that the army's TV station said power had been handed over to the commander in chief Min Aung Hiliang. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Miss Suki presided Win Myint. These names I'm going to be butchering them left and right. And other leaders of the National League for Democracy, the NLD, were arrested in a series of raids. And so what the army have alleged is there's massive voter fraud, very similar to Trump, to be honest. But yeah, the army have taken over Myanmar. No major violence has been reported. Soldiers blocked roads in the capital, Naypyidaw, the main city of Yangon. International domestic TV channels, including state broadcaster, went off air. Internet and phone services have been disrupted, and so basically they're going to stop people communicating with each other. And this means that this limits the chance of any kind of rebellion against the military. Banks said they had been forced to close and queues formed at cash machines. One Yangon resident told Reuters news agency, "I don't know what is happening. I'm a bit scared." So here's some analysis here from Jonathan Head. So it's official, the armed forces of Myanmar have confirmed that they have carried out a coup d'etat, their first act against a civilian government since 1962, and an apparent violation of the constitution, which the military promised to honour as recently as last Saturday. I mean, who's going to believe the military, honestly? The grievances which have been driving tension between the military and the government are well known. The military-backed party, the USDP, performed poorly in last year's general election, whereas the NLD did better than in 2015. So you can see here the party, the military-backed, couldn't win at the polls. So the military are like, screw it, we'll do this, through force. The timing of this coup is easily explained. This week, the first session of the new parliament since the election is due to start, which would have enshrined the election result by approving the next government. That will no longer happen, so it makes a lot of sense for them to do this at this time, given that they want to take over the country by military force. But the military's longer game is hard to fathom. What do you plan to do in the year they have given themselves to run the country? There will be public anger over the coup so soon after an election in which 70% of voters defied the COVID-19 pandemic to overwhelmingly vote for Aung San Suu Kyi. Famously stubborn, she is unlikely to cooperate with a gun held to her head. Her ally, President Win Myint, sorry if I'm mispronouncing these names, is the only person authorised under the constitution to enact a state of emergency. He has been detained with her, so basically they're being held at gunpoint here. For the moment, the military's action appears reckless and puts Myanmar on a perilous path. What's been the reaction? So Boris Johnson has condemned it. The United States has condemned the coup, saying it opposes any attempt to alter the outcome of recent elections. U.S. State Attorney Anthony Blinken called for the release of all of those detained, said the U.S. stands with the people of Burma in their aspirations for democracy. In the UK, Prime Minister Boris Johnson condemned the coup and Aung San Suu Kyi's unlawful imprisonment. So, you can see here that the military's party got bodied, and they're not happy about it, so they're like, screw it then, we'll take it by force. So, there's a brief history about her. Sort of the way I've learnt about her more recently is, the military genocide of the Rohingya Muslims, and basically, pushing them out of Myanmar and into Bangladesh, which was a big story, because obviously I'm Bangladeshi, my parents are Bangladeshi, so that's one of the reasons why, I kind of followed the story very closely as it was going on. So yeah, that's how recently her treatment, kind of her legacy was kind of recently looked at, and they said to take the Nobel Prize off her. In 2017, hundreds of thousands of Rohingya fled to neighbouring Bangladesh due to an army crackdown sparked by deadly attacks on police stations in Rakhine State. These are people who weren't classed as citizens by the state and were treated horribly. And so, they decided to take action, and, the military's, cracked down on them ruthlessly, to the point where they have committed a genocide on the Rohingya Muslims. And Aung San Suu Kyi, instead of doing anything about it, she allowed it to happen. She didn't care. And now the military have gone for her. So, you let the military run wild, and what do you expect is going to happen? Eventually, they're going to go for you, because that's how these generals are. They want power, and so they don't care. So, well done, Aung San Suu Kyi. You allowed a genocide to happen in your country, and now that the military's come for you, you expect international organisations to come bail you out. Well, I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, a military coup is wrong. Regardless of her failure as a leader, she's the one that the people of Myanmar have elected. And so, look, I don't know what the international community are going to do about this. Probably very little. Myanmar is not, the most important country in the state of world politics. So who knows? But most likely they're going to be probably looking at sanctions. So yeah, not a great situation for the people of Myanmar. Not a great situation for Aung San Suu Kyi. But I don't know what more to say apart from, let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you